Hi, everyone. Welcome to Daden Software, purpose-built software solutions for the best version of your business. I'm Carly Velasquez with Daden Software, and we welcome you to today's client showcase, where we will be featuring Gas Money Services, a platform that enables clients to find and hire young adults in their area for the completion of home and yard-based services. With me today, we have Austin Pariseau and Robert Walker, the founders of Gas Money Services, taking us through their startup journey and what it was like building custom software from the ground up. Also joining us on the panel today is Daden Software CEO and Chief Architect, Chris Daden. As you have questions throughout, like I said before, feel free to type them in the stream chat during the discussion, and at the end, we'll go through those questions. So let's jump in. How are you today, Austin and Robert?
I'm great.
Really good.
Good to hear. We're happy to have you on with us.
Yeah,
Thank you. And
this opportunity.
we really appreciate the opportunity for us to be on here, and we're looking forward to speaking.
Great. So to start us off here, can you give us a brief overview on the Gas Money Services platform and the Gas Money Services mission?
Yeah, so essentially the Gas Money Services app and platform allows you to find and hire young adults in your area for the completion of various services such as lawn care, landscaping. We're also looking to branch out into photography, essentially any job that a high school or college student could do. And our mission is to provide young adults with the opportunity to become their own boss and develop real world skills in communication, leadership, and accountability. So essentially the Gas Money app has two accounts, a client account and a contractor account. When you sign up as a client, you can look for either a service that you would like, or if you know there's a certain contractor in your area, you can search for that contractor. Essentially, when you search for a service, it'll bring up a list of all the contractors in your area, and it's simple as sending them a job request. You can look over their profile before you decide to hire them. And once you send them that job request, you'll open a message tab between you and the contractor. And essentially, it's all through the app. So once the contractor sets up the date and time to come to your house, they do the service for you, and you just click a payment button right in the app. And that is the goal of Gas Money, is just simplicity. So Austin, did you want to add anything for that?
I think the biggest thing that our overall mission is to give this opportunity to people of the youth age between 16 and 24 years old. Most of those will be students in high school or college. Which is a huge opportunity, especially for people that aren't looking for something that they need necessarily full time, and to have a very flexible schedule without a boss or something like that gives you a schedule every week, that you have to cancel things and everything like that to work around work, where actually with us work works around your schedule. So that's our biggest thing. And like Robert was saying, we also want to educate with many different things that is basically not taught in your everyday education, such as different tax benefits by working as an independent contractor and being a business owner, and also many other things that go along with that, while also providing that self-motivation and confidence in real world situations that you aren't really taught in your everyday education.
That's awesome. Yeah. And what's unique about Gas Money is your guys' focus on the youth. And I know when we were building your app, we were focused on allowing people 16 or older to register, build in the parental consents, and those kinds of things. So tell me more about why, how did you guys end up saying, I want to start a services platform geared at youth? Is it your story? What is the founding purpose of that?
Yeah, so it really just comes down to how me and Austin started. We were actually doubles partners in tennis when we first met in high school. And we both were super busy. We wanted a way that we could make money without having a boss looking over us, without having a certain schedule. And essentially, we just went out, got some lawnmowers, and started kind of mowing lawns on the side. And from there, we really found that a lot of clients really like hiring us specifically because they don't really see young people working as much anymore. So that kind of sparked the idea, hey, let's try hiring some of our friends to work with us and hire them as independent contractors instead of employees. So that way they have the same freedom we experienced in doing the services. So it kind of just grew from there throughout the summer of 2020. That's early 2020 is when we actually started Gas Money. And we actually had a manual process for the first, all the way up until today, actually, a couple of days where we will be launching the Gas Money app. So with that manual process, essentially, we acted as the medium between contractors and clients. So we had a phone that we worked, we did all the paperwork, we did all the scheduling. And essentially when a contractor wanted to work with us, we would give them the paperwork and everything. And whenever we'd get a job request, we would send those job requests out to our contractors. And whenever they wanted to work with us, then they would just simply accept that job request, kind of how the app is geared. And we just really wanted to simplify this process. But to kind of get back at what you were saying about really focusing on the youth, when we decided to make an app and we kind of thought about this idea, there's so many apps out there that offer services and kind of act as a connector. I mean, you've got Uber, Lyft, those are basically very similar apps, and you see a lot of that in this kind of industry. So what we thought about is, hey, let's provide this opportunity to young adults like we had these experiences. And by focusing on that, we really think our companies develop more as with the mission of really empowering younger generations and helping people instead of just being another company out there that you can use to find services.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
I mean, that's what's awesome is that you guys you guys as the founders are able to, exemplify. You guys went through that, right? You guys were youth taking ambition yourself to go out and find these service opportunities, working hard. So that makes you guys great founders for a platform like this. So that's a great starting story. It's a good motivator for you guys to grow the company for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if just to kind of bounce off that a little bit too, that was one of our biggest things as well. And that's what's driven us to, do this and get this far today, is because we did all of those things at the beginning, the beginning process. We door knocked, we, handed out pamphlets, we did all of those things that a lot of, people our age really don't think that's possible, I guess you could say. They look at all these big names, these big companies, and they just think, oh man, that's just such a big mountain to climb. But it all really starts with just that. And that's what really showed us, where it just starts with something small and it can become something so much bigger. And we kind of built an opportunity for ourselves and built that experience from that opportunity. And then now we want to provide that through our company to as many youth people as we can.
That's awesome.
That is so great. I wish this was around when I was in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys kind of already touched on it a little bit. You talked about all the things that you had to do manually, the scheduling, the contractor onboarding. Maybe you can touch a little bit on as well as how you manually did finances, and then how you got to a point where you decided, okay, like this is taking off, this is getting there. How did you know that it was time to create a custom mobile app to help your business grow?
Okay. Yeah. If you want me to start on that one, Rob. So we kind of call it our paper model is what we call it. So this is, basically using the app and everything like that, and anything online, that's the online model. But we started out with the paper model. Basically, we got invoice books printed out, gas money invoices, and we would hand those out to each contractor. And each job that they would do, they would fill out an invoice, collect the payment, and actually at the end of every week we have to meet up with all of the contractors and collect those invoices. And already, at that point of the process, it's a very, time consuming process, especially, having to do that at the end of every week. And in order for anybody to get paid, they have to turn in invoices. So, let's say they, forgot an invoice or something like that, but they still did the job. That's still, we wouldn't be able to know that because they didn't turn in the invoice. So that's another reason why, kind of putting this model into something online can make that much easier and automated. And then after that, we go through all of our spreadsheets, and Robert actually put in the Excel spreadsheets, different formulas that kind of help with the math. And then we update those at the end of every week. Kind of our weekends are pretty taken up by this model. And then we kind of went from there, got everything set for the next week, and we do it all over again. So that was our paper model.
Yeah.
It
was to kind of add on to that. At the same time we were doing this paper model, we also would work 5-6 days a week doing lawn care and doing other jobs. So we really found it to be pretty stressful, especially, I mean, in the summer, a lot of kids relax. And then the summer months, me and Austin were working 45 hours a week, just mowing lawns and doing stuff
Wow.
outside. So the crazy thing is it never really felt like work to us. I mean, that's another thing that we have in mind with the Gas Money app is it allows you to actually collaborate as a contractor with other contractors in your area. So this feature really reflects what we had. I mean, me and Austin were best friends. Working with friends is really something that's beneficial. It allows you to grow together. And it's also just a way of making work not seem necessarily like a job or like work. I mean, lawn care and landscaping, we really push on those two because that's essentially what we've done. But we're really looking to expand even to tutoring, maybe dog walking, house sitting, anything like that that a high school or college student or anybody that's a young adult would be interested in doing. Just for the fact that the opportunities you can get with it, being your own boss, working with friends, are just really valuable, and they've definitely helped us out a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. And guys, just to add some value to some of the viewers that are thinking about starting their own custom software project or just starting a company in general, how valuable would you say doing your paper model was to, beginning the wireframing stage that you did with us and the design stage of building out your app? Like, would you say that it was, extremely beneficial to have that paper model down, because then you could refer to those manual processes in order to build a more effective software application? Tell us a bit about how that may have helped you.
I would say it was extremely beneficial. If we did not have that paper process, then we wouldn't know what to automate with a software. So I think that's the biggest thing that comes to my head. So I'm very, very happy, and that's what I would recommend. Get a manual process down, like you were saying, Chris, at the beginning of the business, and figure that out. And then also that'll help you figure out what you need to put into your software or your mobile app to then automate that process for you and then grow from there. So I think that definitely helped a lot.
For sure. Yeah. And it really helps you learn about your own business because if Austin and I wouldn't have had all these experiences and one day we just got this idea for the Gas Money app, we would have not had any idea where to start. And at that point, we would have had to look. And we actually did research into other companies that are similar, and we kind of borrowed ideas from them. But especially when it comes to the student working population, as well as the collaboration feature, that's something that we hadn't really seen in other apps. If we wouldn't have had that manual process before creating the Gas Money app, I don't think we would have thought of adding those features in.
That's true. And I think a lot of startups, and this is just kind of general comments to everybody watching, a lot of startups come to us and say, I need to build software. And in our wireframing stage, the first thing we do is ask, like, how are you doing this today? Like if you're a law firm or you're a construction company or whether you're a startup doing what Gas Money was doing, we ask you, what is your manual process today? Because we always look to those manual processes first before we start spending a bunch of money building custom software and planning that out. And that's really one of our core values that I think really exemplified itself in our Gas Money project, because you guys came to us and said, this is how we work with the contractors. I mean, from what I remember in our early meetings, we didn't really talk about different things software specific. A lot of our first starting meetings introducing each other was about your business. How do you do it today? How do your contractors communicate? How do you hire people? How do they work jobs? How do they communicate with customers? And all of that stuff culminated into what we could use for wireframing to build software to support your manual process. So a lot of people come to us without a manual process and ask to build software automation, but it just doesn't always work out that way. So that's a really great highlight in your guys' journey that I think lends itself to your software success.
Right.
That is so cool to learn more about how you guys came to be and how you started out. So going off of that, now that you know that you wanted to build an app and you're currently going through that process almost complete, what type of fundraising strategies did you have to find to help GMS be successful? Did you guys self-fund? Did you get investors? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, so actually up until today, we have been fully self-funded. So
wow.
When we started, it's that was definitely a big challenge we had, but I mean, it's
Sure.
been really rewarding because everything we've put into the business has been a return from us, and it just shows how powerful that is. But essentially, when we started the business, we each put in an investment of our own, equal investments. And from there, we basically just use our commission model to really fundraise the business. So essentially what we were doing is from any job that was completed by Gas Money contractors, Gas Money takes 24% of that towards insurance. I mean, we have to insure all the contractors to cover all the behind the scenes work, so to speak. And then most of it ended up turning into fundraising for the application, because I'm sure a lot of the listeners out there know creating a mobile app's not necessarily inexpensive. It's a lot of money you got to put forward, and that was actually one of the biggest obstacles that we had when we were deciding if we wanted to make an app or not, because you're talking about a huge investment, and there's not really certainty of any rewards or returns in that, and that's one of the biggest things in business. It's all about risks and rewards. And by having the success that we had from just investing back into the business, we didn't take any company draws. Still, as of today, we haven't taken any company draws from Gas Money. We've put it all back in the company. It's just really rewarding that we have been all self-funded so far.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Another piece to add to that too, another kind of rewarding piece is with being self-funded, we've also not had to take on any debt or anything like that from banks or anything. So we're completely debt free. I guess that's just another accomplishment I guess I wanted to highlight. So
yeah, I mean, that's amazing. A lot
That's
of companies are not fortunate to say that. I mean, I come from the startup and entrepreneurial background. I know a lot of companies that debt fundraise in order to fund development. And really, as an entrepreneur myself, if you can get by as you guys did with self-funding through cash flow, it doesn't suspend the reality that you have to make some revenue, right? Like a lot of people want to make an app, polish it, never release it, and want to keep fundraising debt because it's easy to not go to market. You guys have really flipped that kind of procrastinating model on its head by leading with a manual paper model. You've then fundraised enough to say, okay, we can scale this with custom software. We take our own fundraised dollars, build that custom software, and now you'll see some growth in your business because you've automated the process. Self-fundraising is not easy, but you guys said earlier in the interview here that you didn't want to have a boss. The worst kind of boss you can have is some type of investor, board of directors telling you what you can and can't do in some scenarios, right? Some startup companies and some companies require funding to adequately scale and grow. But in your guys' case, it's awesome to see you flourish in a self-funded way. So super kudos to you guys on that. That's great work, and keep that going for as long as you can. With that, are you guys, with some of our audience listening today, they may be, angel investors, or they may be interested in working with you guys in some capacity. Are you guys interested in fundraising? What is your plan now that you have a kind of a custom software model to develop now? Do you guys want to continue on the self-funded track? Are you looking for, partnership with investors? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, just to start off, I think our biggest thing, we've had multiple conversations recently because we've realized, like you were saying, it's a very difficult way to go unless we have, some kind of money, in the family, or that we've worked, since we were 14 or something like that, and just put everything away, which unfortunately we haven't. So we were able to put up quite a few funds from the beginning. The 24%, like Rob was saying, has helped us out a lot to this point. But now that we have created that software, we're definitely going to be interested in doing some partnerships with, some kind of VCs or, like you were saying, angel investors and things like that. And that's kind of our next step. We've had many conversations, like I was going to go into, about that on, different strategies on how to connect yourself with people like that or companies like that to do partnerships. And we've gotten definitely mixed advice. A lot of people have said, start with the family, maybe for the first round, kind of just, ask and guarantee a return back to some family members or close people, close friends and family. But then, also if we can make that next step quicker than expected with partnerships with, larger forms of capital, then that's definitely what we would like to do.
Well, and you guys are definitely ahead of the standard fundraising startup, because you have your paper model proven, you have revenues, you now have a software model. You let that software model be live for 3 to 6 months, get some statistics from it, get some proven data. I believe you may have the capability to skip that friends and family seed round and go more to a traditional fundraising round, because you guys have already self-invested. Like you said, you've not taken draws. So, absolutely congratulations to you about launching here in the next week or so. And, great job so far. You guys sound like you're doing a good job running the company. And we wish you the best of luck finding some investment partners. Keep an eye on who those partners are. We always say, watch for the color of money, because it's important to know who your investors are. Make sure they're not just capital partners, right? It's not just about the money. It's about how they can advise you, how they can add value to your business, and make sure that you truly have a partner, even more so than just the capital that they're giving you.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that advice. That's one of the biggest things. We try and get advice from everybody. We're definitely both new in this, and just kind of learning as we go. And definitely feels good to hear advice like that from somebody who's went through it already. So thank you.
Great. So I think this is a good point to jump into our live Q&A. We actually have a question about advice from one of our viewers here. So Austin and Robert, this viewer wants to know, if I'm interested in coming up with my own app, what is the most important advice you can give to a startup that does not have technical founders?
Yeah, so I guess I can start out. Obviously, Austin and I were just basically doing lawn care and landscaping. We did not have much technical knowledge, so we could definitely offer some advice for that area. So basically, when we launched Gas Money LLC, the paper model, so to speak, in 2020, it was right at the start when COVID hit the United States. So we weren't actually able to work until I think it was late April. So during that time is really when we started looking into making an app. And the biggest thing we found was researching companies that have already been established. So for example, we looked into Uber's model where they hire independent contractors. It's the client contractor account. And that really kind of showed us a lot. And then we also branched out into service-based models, more towards lawn care, landscaping. So definitely the advice that I would give is to research companies in the market you're looking towards, and research what it means to be a tech company and what it means to create a mobile application.
Yeah, exactly. To bounce off of that, I think research is extremely important. And then also try and gain that experience from people that have either went through it or are also kind of going through that, and bounce, ideas. If you're afraid to reach out to someone, then you're never going to gain that experience or that knowledge that person has. I think a huge example from what we did, my cousin, Randy Watkins is his name. He works down south, and I just knew kind of that he was in the tech industry. Like Robert was saying, we had very, very minimal knowledge about tech, other than, we were whizzes with an iPhone and computers, but we had no idea how to, create a mobile app or anything like that. And I hadn't really talked to him a whole lot. He is family, but it just there wasn't much of a relationship there. But we just said one night, it was kind of late at night, and we were just like, let's reach out. And he actually responded within the next 5 minutes. And since then, he's actually helped us extremely along this path. And another thing that we've done too is had countless meetings with people that are in business, have went through business, have owned businesses, because getting that advice, obviously some people, everyone actually just take everything with a grain of salt, because you don't know exactly, what they've done, or because you haven't seen that. But still, that's more experience and more knowledge that you have now after doing those things than you would by just doing everything on your own. So that's my piece of advice.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's always nice to walk along somebody who's maybe been through the same thing that you're going through. So that's great that you had some family to help, and thanks for giving that advice to our viewers. So it looks like the next question here. Okay, so what are some marketing strategies you're going to use to drive traffic to your app?
Yeah, so I guess I could go off of this first. The
Mhm.
first biggest thing, especially in today's age, is social media. So
Right.
the first thing we did when we got this idea for the app is created mock-ups for advertisements, started pushing our socials a little bit more, everything like that, because it has some form of social media that they'll look at. So easiest and the most affordable way to get your message out there. So that was a big thing. And then also we're actually in the process of speaking with a local news station because we really want to push a hard local launch right now. So
Mhm.
really trying to hit that local home and kind of that local area as our first goal. And then from there, and spread out a little more.
Right.
Great. Yeah, social media can be your biggest asset. So that's great to hear. So I actually think we do have time for one more question. So for Austin and Robert, what has been the greatest challenge for you two as you've gone through the process of building your application?
Yeah, I can start with this one. So I think the biggest thing is monetization, figuring out how we were going to monetize from going with the paper model, then going to this software online model, so to speak. And you know, we've our biggest thing with we were inspired by the Uber model for the paper model that we've been using because Uber and actually all of those gig economy, so to speak, companies such as, you know, TaskRabbit, Thumbtack, Uber, Lyft, you know, Grubhub, all of those companies, normally they'll take, we know for a fact, Uber takes a certain percentage per drive for providing that job or that, you know, service availability or that opportunity for that contractor. So that was where we started, and that's definitely the way that we're going still today. We're still, you know, figuring out which way we want to go exactly with the monetization, but we are going to start with that model, you know, taking kind of a commission approach to it from each job that's completed. And I don't know if you want to go off of that too, Rob, on
Yeah,
how that's
and
been.
yeah, so a big thing with that commission model we're using too is every job that happens is guaranteed income for obviously the contractor, but then for gas money. So we
Right.
think to start out, taking that percentage is really going to help guarantee that we can keep funding gas money, especially in the early stages. But as we grow, we're looking into maybe either decreasing that commission that we take, or even looking into a different model such as subscription based or buying leads, anything like that. So we're kind of keeping an open mind for monetization, but that was definitely and probably will be the hardest challenge to keeping gas money running.
Great. Well, thank you so much for speaking on that. It looks like that's all the time that we have for today. So thank you to all of our viewers for joining us today, Austin and Robert. We value our client relationship. We thank you for our partnership. Everyone listening, we hope that you enjoyed learning about Gas Money Services' journey today with building their custom software. If you have any questions or you yourself need advice regarding an app, we're happy to help, and we can set up a one-on-one meeting with you. So keep an eye out for our next client showcase. And if you get the chance, please follow Daden LLC and Gas Money Services. Our Daden LLC QR code should be up on the screen. So if you go ahead and scan that, you'll be set to follow Daden LLC's notifications, any upcoming events that we're going to have, and receive more software development strategies similar to what was talked about today. So once again, thank you, Austin and Robert. It's been really fun. It was so nice to learn more about what you guys are doing, and we're just so excited for you. So thank you, and thanks to all our viewers. Bye.
Thank you.